Oh, hi there. Welcome to week 6, day 2 of the LCS, and we have Meteos. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, hello. Be here.
So is Sneaky just alone on stream? What's happening?
Well, Sneaky was supposed to come. Well, I don't know about supposed to, but we tried to get him to come. But you know, just getting him out of his house is just really hard.
We were supposed to. We have heard that you might be on for weeks.
Yeah.
I'd also heard that actually. I kept saying to my co-streamer, I was like, "Yo, this Friday might be at LCS." Friday comes around, I'm co-streaming. They're like, "You're not at LCS," but this time I am at LCS.
There it is.
Do you think they believed you this time?
Probably not.
They're like on his streams,
Might be
like,
for
where
the
is he? He doesn't know where to go.
You should pre-record yourself next time so that you can go live with a pre-recording of you and be on the LCS.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That would be good. Well, we have you on. There has been a patch change. We talked about it slightly yesterday, but now we want to just get your perspective on it. 13.4, specifically the jungle changes. If we have anything that we can roll while you're just kind of like, what are your thoughts of A, the jungle, and the changes? Anything that comes to your mind.
I can't read that fast.
Clear speed, kill experience.
Yeah,
Can't get all those
ARAM
stat
balance
numbers
adjustments.
These changes I think are a little bit harder to feel, or like, you know, when you look at the patch notes, it's not super clear what it's supposed to do. So I think their goal is they don't like junglers just getting level 3 and then that's it, just living in lanes all the time. So like, you know, they lowered kill XP a little bit. I think they nerfed the AP junglers a little bit. I'm not totally convinced it's going to shake up the meta that much. I think it's still going to be pretty similar because, you know, like Blabber was saying with his speaker interview yesterday, like full clearing is just not really that worth it. You get, you know, way less gold than you did before. So really jungle right now feels a bit feast or famine depending on like how your early ganks work out. And they nerf some champs like Elise and Maokai, whatnot, but I'm not expecting any massive shifts in what people are playing or how they're playing.
What about the potential buff with Viego? Do you think he's in a good spot now with the changes that came in, or is he still kind of too weak?
Those seem more like geared towards solo queue Viego changes because I think they buffed his crit builds, and I don't know how often you see Viego's just rolling up with Kraken Slayer in pro games. I don't think you really get enough gold to make that work, but maybe, you know, I think maybe someone like Closer, who's, you know, a big fan of the champion, might try to pick it up, but I don't know if he's going to be like a premier pick or anything like that.
What do you think has to happen to the jungle to bring back more of like a carry power farming style?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think the jungle would need to probably give more gold in XP because it's always a weird tuning thing with jungle where if the camps are worth too much, then you get these like kind of boring metas with carry junglers like Hecarim, Udyr, whatever, who just full clearing on repeat. But if they're not worth enough, then you just get junglers who hit level 3 and they say see ya, and they just sit in your lane the whole time. So I think it's pretty hard. I actually made a tweet the other day with some of my thoughts. I thought that with the bonus treats for jungle, I thought it would be cool if they made it so rather than getting the bonus treats right at the beginning of the game, if it was like you had to farm a certain amount of camps to start getting it, kind of like the old conservation system with the Spirit Stone items, where, because, you know, there have been systems in the past with like Strength of the Ages, conservation, where you're really incentivized to clear your camps as a jungler. And I think that's good, right? It should be like, obviously you want to interact with the game. You don't want full clearing junglers the whole time, but at the same time, you want there to be a trade-off when you're ganking. So right now it's weird because I think part of it is also the counter jungling change they did, where it's harder to take camps in the enemy's jungle, but also the fact that you can't actually counter the camp. Like you can't just leave one tiny raptor there, which was kind of a big deal before, right? You'd like always want to not leave your raptors unattended because if they leave one, then the next time you're there, you have to clear it and then the timer starts. Whereas now I can just completely forget about my jungle for 2 minutes, live bot lane, and then even if the other jungler takes all my camps, I can just go back there later and there'll be a higher level so I get more XP from it. So it's actually like kind of helping that they did that.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask that because the 3 things the jungler can do is obviously farm their own camps, gank, and then the counter jungling. But it feels like that's largely dead in a lot of ways. You can still contest, I think, early camps, like a blue buff invade, but it's only buff invades now. It doesn't feel super impactful to kind of do this heavy aggro invade style, the way that you might have used to see like when you had a Nidalee in a good matchup and you would just like invade with your laners and harass the jungler out of the game. I haven't seen really a jungler harassed out of the game much at all this year. I don't know if there's a good example of that I'm not thinking of.
Clover yesterday.
I mean,
But even then, he was still
Okay.
functional. He was
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
But yeah, I think comeback XP is always going to be a problem,
That too,
especially
yeah.
with I think every year they add some comeback mechanic that allows if you get one like the newest one of obviously like objective gold. So now if you in this case, at least with this patch, they nerfed kill comeback XP.
Yep.
So I appreciate that. The one change, the biggest change that they made this split or league this year that I actually want to see change is obviously like the damage reduction if you're invading on camps, but also they just made camps healthier. So Gromp is just a lot of HP pool on that. So if you wanted to come in and invade, yes, you're dealing with the HP pool. You're also dealing with how much damage is reduced on camp. So if you're going into invade for blue, you can't do blue Gromp and then think you're gonna have enough time to get out before you're contested. So those are the two things that I would probably want change is, I do think those changes will come through.
Yeah, well, that specific one's actually already been announced for next patch,
Yeah.
13.5. That 20%. I think is it you get 20% more damage on your camps and you don't get that on enemies?
Yeah,
or 20%
it's like your
reduction?
jungle pet is the one giving you the buff that doesn't exist on the other side of the map or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
it's kind of complicated. I don't know. It's
Just a way of getting numbers to
you got to
go
read
down.
the wiki.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, they're making it easier to counter jungle. Next patch is
Yeah.
the cliff notes on that one.
There we
So
go.
I think it's a good change. I still kind of wish they would bring back the ability to like actually deny the camps from the opponent by leaving the
Right.
small ones, because that was really the risk before of leaving your camps up in what would make the ganking so risky, right? Like there's a price to pay, but if there's no price to pay, you can just leave your camps up whenever, then, I think we'll probably see a lot of this because, as people who lane know, jungler can influence the lane so much that even if you like have to lose out in your jungler or whatever, it's almost always worth it to play around the lanes because once you get a lane going, they just keep snowballing. So there has to be like a really huge cost, for ganking. That's just not there right now.
Okay, sounds good. And we want to hear more of your perspective on just the jungle in general. This time around, our LCS junglers. So we have you here to tier list the junglers so far this split. We also just have the tier list behind you. So if you want to get up and actually start putting them in proper places, we'll be Peanut Gallery.
Yeah, the pen is behind the screen
yeah.
on the right other side.
I'll go find.
Go get him.
Yeah.
Do it.
Go
You
get
can
him,
do
Mark.
it, Mark.
No, he can't. Look at
No,
this
he
guy.
got
He's
it.
just
He's
roaming
right
around
there.
lost. He's
Hey.
so. Hey, there it is.
Okay.
Crush it.
Just back
Natural.
down.
All right. Well, I think we'll start with the top.
Yeah.
My GOAT, Blabber, number one.
Ooh.
So
Maybe best all time from
quickly
Fnatic.
here,
I'm with you, buddy.
is this split, this performance, or is these are the junglers I think are the best overall?
I
to
would say
define.
like right now. Just if we snapshot LCS, how everyone's been doing right now. And this also, it doesn't only reflect the jungler themselves, but their team. Sometimes good players can be in teams that make them not look as good.
So is this if they started the split bad but were good like today, they're going to be higher because it's how they're going to perform?
Well, they haven't played today.
Well, just like it's your expectation of how they're going to do today.
Yeah. sure.
Okay. I just want to check. Defining tier list is important.
So for S tier, obviously I put Blabber at number one.
Makes sense.
And then I also am going to add Spica and Inspired to S with Blabber. I think they're both extremely good players. Maybe not quite as good as Blabber, but obviously still really good. They just make proactive plays. They're always in the right place at the right time. And so they've all been doing really well. Next up,
Ooh, let's see what we got.
I'm going to put River in A tier. I think River's been doing extremely well, especially because, with Golden Guardians, it's not really a roster people looked at and thought they'd be on a 7-game win streak. I think a lot of that comes off of his performances. He's one of the junglers who's making Wukong work. I think he's like sub 30% win rate in the league, but River's been getting a lot of those wins. So definitely think he's been playing really well.
Okay.
And now we're going down. I'm going to put Contractz next up here in B tier because
Ooh.
Contractz has had some really good games, but he's also had like some off games where he's a bit invisible. And I think that's partially just because of CLG in general. They've been pretty hit or miss. Like their wins, they look really good. Their losses, they look really sus. So
What do you think he does really well?
I think he's just, proactive playmaker when he's feeling confident.
Yeah.
But then, maybe if he falls behind, then he might not always know what to do. So next up, I'll put Closer here in B with Contractz. I think Closer has had a fairly rough split. I think 100 Thieves in general hasn't looked that good. They're kind of playing the scaling game, and I think that's been kind of hard on Closer because before when 100 Thieves was doing real well, he was like very much a carry jungler, and you can't really do that when all your lanes are scaling. So not as high in the tier list as he once was, but I still think he's a good player.
That's a controversial one just because of,
Yeah.
like, you're obviously need to give him a lot of credit because we all think Closure's a good player. He just hasn't been performing well, so it's tricky to rank it.
I mean, as a jungler myself, I've played on good teams, not so good teams, and I think the team environment can really affect how a jungler looks and plays. So now we're moving down a little bit, and I'm gonna put Pyosik here. Even though he's a world champion and he's had good games, I think he has underperformed, or based on what the expectations were. Because this dude just won Worlds, and maybe it's a little unfair because everyone's banning out his one trick, which they didn't do at Worlds. He's very much a Kindred player.
Yeah.
So I think that's working against him a little bit, but yeah, we'll put him there, and then we'll put Santorin here as well. Santorin's a jungler who I think is really good. I've competed against him. He's been playing for a long time. I think he's a very solid player. Unfortunately, Dig's just really struggling this split. They've won one game, so hard to get much higher in the tier list in that situation. And then I will put Boogie next to him. I think Boogie has had some good games, but he's also yesterday his Vi game really hurt to watch. Nothing hurts me more than watching a team that has a front to back comp where you want to peel for your carries and your front line is just diving their back line. It actually makes no sense. It just opens up your back line to getting killed. And so I didn't like to see that. And then Kenvi, I'm sorry, but your team's struggling, hasn't had too many great games. So we'll just slot him down there.
Something that I noticed from a lot of the junglers that are lower on the list is that when you are losing consecutive games, you are taking more risks because you feel like you need to get a large advantage early. And it feels like, especially with Santorin, somebody that I think is really good. It's a good example of somebody who's performing well, but it feels like he needs to do more. And so it's been blowing up.
Oh, absolutely. And, like I said before this, I think a lot of junglers' performances has to do with their team as well, right? It's how well does your team play around the jungle and whatnot. So someone like Spica, he's got really solid teammates. He's just kind of on the Maokai, on the Amumu duty.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to hard carry, but he's still doing a really good job.
Sounds good. Right now, if you're in the chat, right now, just start voting who you think, because we're gonna start making comparisons here, because Dom, I think 2 weeks ago, had his list. So we can fly it if we have it up just to see what that list looked like in comparison. So this was
I think
Dom's
it was
list.
last week.
Yeah, it was last.
Last week, God, time is moving so quickly.
And I'm gonna say the criteria were different between the two. Dom said this is this split in a vacuum. So they have no resumes. He's just trying to look at how they've done this split. And then your list was who's the best right now. So slightly different criteria.
Yeah, and for the chat, just wanted to see which jungle tier list do you vibe with most, either Dom's or yours, Meteos's.
Okay.
So
Dom's is up there.
yes.
Wow, Blabber that low.
There it is, see, already.
No
So
way.
spam chat to vote, either Dom or Meteos, just so we can actually get that out there, and we can just start discussing the list and the comparisons.
I think a couple things that jump out. Boogie, lower on Meteos's a little bit. River, a little higher on Dom's, but that was before they just lost their game. They were in the middle of that insane win streak. Golden Guardians lost yesterday, and River had a bit of a struggle game, so a little bit lower now.
I wanted to ask, because obviously Dom rated River super highly, and there's the biggest discrepancy in the top, I think, is between River and Blabber placements. So what do you think what have you seen from Blabber this split or recently that you don't see from River?
I think that C9 as a team is maybe a little bit more complete in the way that they play. I think that Golden Guardians has had a lot of success just playing with mid jungle. I think they've been making a lot of really good plays with their mid jungle, but they've kind of had the strategy of just Licorice, don't die. Put them on any champion that's just not going to feed, right? Weak side Renekton, weak side Lee Sin top. Not sure what that was. It was a win. It was a win.
They got it.
Yeah, so Gragas. But yesterday we saw a game where he was on Jax, who's a champion that he kind of fits the mold. He's got his counter strike, his jump out, but he doesn't really function without gold. Jax is by all means a carry. He needs to kind of be played around. And so I think that style, it seems like Golden Guardians is fully committed to the idea of just leave Licorice alone, let him do his thing. He'll try not to run it down, which, honestly, it's not a bad way to play League. Just bot lane is OP always. And I think that C9, I just give them an edge because they've played through every lane. They're just super aggressive. Like, Fudge is just absolutely stomping everyone. Blabber supports him very well. And I think just as in general, C9 is playing so well, and Blabber's a big part of that.
So it's really coming across as like jungle is almost inseparable from team performance a lot of the time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so much of jungle is like having teammates that support your decisions. If you're a jungler on a team where every lane is like losing and crying for you, and it's like, even if I gank one lane, it's like the other two lanes are just disappointed that they weren't the one you're ganking for. And it's just like, it's going to be dysfunctional.
Dude,
Results
There you go.
You win the poll.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I think you're winning even more because they have to type 5 letters versus 3. And usually
True.
my strategy for this is just make my vote the fewest letters.
5 letters? How do you spell Meteos?
6 letters.
Meteo.
Mateo. That's even harder then. It's twice as many letters.
Yeah.
But no, we were talking earlier about even sometimes just having a laner, certain players you're just uncomfortable playing with, and it takes a long time to adjust. So part of that was maybe why Closer would be different this split, because he spent 3 years playing with FBI and Huhi, and even if in time he could be better with Doublelift Busio, or in time instead of having Someday in the top lane, he has Tenacity in the top lane, it's just so much to adjust to at once, and it takes a long time. It may never actually click, depending on how developed you are as players, and it's just, you know, really hard to make those adjustments.
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, having that level of comfort, like you said, Closer had the same teammates for so long. They understand what each other like wants and how they want to play the game. And it's another reason why players like Impact, for me, are just so good, because every team he's been on recently has been extremely good. I think that not just his play in-game, but his play out of game, just his understanding. He's the kind of guy who, like, even if I'm jungling for Impact and I grief him so unbelievably hard, like I just feed double buffs to his lane like twice in a row, just completely ruin his game. He won't even be upset. He'll just be like, whatever, like it's fine. Like, yeah, I'll be okay. And that kind of thing just gives you a lot of confidence as a player, knowing that like your teammate's going to support your decisions. They're not going to be upset if things don't work out, if they don't get their way. And so definitely as a jungler, like that can be something that, you know, might make your game feel better.
I appreciate the positivity. You're also someone with strong opinions, sometimes about the design of champions. So to come on the broadcast, we need you to bring the positive spin about the champion design. So we're going to go actually move over to the positivity poro.
Yeah, here we go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
If you're going to be on the Riot broadcast, you have to be nice to Riot Games.
Here we go.
So you're going to
Always.
take a seat right there, and we're going to hold up some champions that you have in the past maybe not had the nicest things to say
Am
about.
I sitting on the poro?
Yep, you have to sit on it.
Oh my.
And we're going to
right.
hold up champions, and you
It's a
have to
juicy
say
one.
something you like about them.
Okay.
This
These
is
are
a
champions
positivity
you
zone.
normally criticize.
Okay.
We'll start with Jad, and we'll just move down the line.
Okay.
We each have one.
All right.
You must say something nice in the positivity zone about Zeri.
Oh, that's a hard one.
What do you like about Zeri?
Remember, you're limited.
You
to
have to answer.
What do I like about Zeri? Well, she's very different. You know, her Q is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
It's
else?
really funny to watch you struggle with
Yeah.
this.
I mean, I think she has cool parts of her kit. Like, I think her wall interactions are cool. The way you can like slide through the wall, like trick shot with your W through the wall. I think that stuff's pretty cool.
I think she's expressive in terms of like watching high moments. It's just maybe they're a little too easy to get to. Is that?
I mean, this is positivity
Okay.
zone.
I should help him. I won't help
what
him
are you
anymore.
doing?
I won't help him anymore. I'll just hold up Yumi. Everyone's.
Honestly, such a great champion for new players and players playing on 1000 ping. I think Riot did a very, very good job making the game accessible to all people, and you know, maybe not even people, maybe animals as well. Like my dog wants to start playing the game, or my cat. Like I'm just so glad we have a champion for that.
Okay, there we go. I love the fact that you talked about positivity towards animals because somebody really cares about it. Ivern, say something positive about Ivern. A few things positive about Ivern.
A few. Ooh, my. Let's start with one.
Go from there. Yeah.
So Ivern, I actually think he has some cool parts of his kit. I like the way that I think his Q is a really unique ability in that he's a support. He's an enchanter who buffs up melee champs, which is actually pretty rare. Most enchanters are, you know, goated backliners, whereas Ivern has a lot of melee support. His E is like a shield that explodes and puts a slow on everybody. His Q helps people get in. So I think that part of his kit is pretty cool.
I really agree. Yeah, I think he's a great champion.
That's great analysis, Meteos. Good job.
Yeah.
That's what I
Such
said.
a nice guy.
That was genuinely
Super
positive,
cool.
you know?
Oh, wow, okay.
Zoe.
Zoe.
Okay, so this is actually one that I have not been a Zoe hater like once in my whole career. I think Zoe is a cool champion in the sense that she's actually really hard to play. Like, obviously, it can be kind of tilting just getting slapped in like one shot off screen. But the thing is, if you try to play Zoe, you'll be like, wow, this is actually really hard. And I think she has a ton of skill expression. Like just knowing the angles where you can get like huge E's through the wall. Like watching Bolulu on her yesterday was really cool. Like obviously it's a champion he's super comfortable on. He made a lot of big plays. So I actually like Zoe.
What do you feel about a recent change? The Sleepy Trouble Bubble getting like, what, 20% pen? Magic pen?
I mean, it seems good. She was struggling to kill people.
Yeah.
I haven't really noticed it, honestly. Like, it hasn't really manifested itself. Like, I'm not really getting one shot as a tank either way.
Okay, there we go.
I think the most interesting was you struggled the most with Zeri. That felt like
Yeah.
the hardest
What is
one.
that champion?
Get off the poro.
That was a question. That was a
What
question.
a negative. You got to leave the positivity.
There we go.
Yeah, we're leaving the positivity stuff if you want to
Good job.
criticize
You can
Zeri.
start
Good job.
flaming again.
That was nice. All right,
crushed it.
there we go.
I think you need to be on the positivity pour more often.
You started with Zeri, man. That was
We did
tough.
came in hot.
One other thing we want to talk about was for the upcoming game, we're jumping off a game that we had yesterday, and it was a draft point. So 100 Thieves got completely steamrolled. They're going to be playing CLG in a second. And I wanted to pull up the drafts for this because we were talking about this during the game on the analyst desk. One team was all scaling. Fiora, Sejuani, Zeri, Asol, and C9 was seemingly 3 winning lanes, but probably very poor scaling. And they totally ran over the game. But kind of the comment that I was making was, if either team loses this game, they can probably blame the draft. Because when you're a player and you have, or a jungler, and you have 0 lanes of prio and you lose, you're like, this was the most miserable experience, never again. But at the same time, if you have 3 lanes of prio, you're like, why didn't we pick any scaling? We make one mistake and we lose the game. We can't team fight. So just kind of what were your thoughts on these 2 drafts? And then we'll go from there.
Well, I was actually really excited to see C9's draft because somehow every single round it got spicier and spicier. So like, 100 Thieves, first pick Zeri, totally makes sense. Strong champion, Doublelift, and doing really well on it. And then C9 responded with Elise Varus. So it's like already your game plan is early game dominance, right? Like you pick Varus into Zeri not to outscale her, but to like actually win the lane, shut her down. And Elise, obviously, best jungler at doing that kind of thing. And then they went Jace on 3, Heimer on 4, and then Yone on 5. So it just kept getting spicier, and I love to see that because, it's, like you were saying, it's a really hard style to play. And I don't know, I think 100 Thieves draft, like, it's an okay draft. This is something that's worked really well in North America because, I think it's fair to criticize them for just picking scaling, but at the same time, if you look at Doublelift and Bjergsen's career, they've played this kind of stuff and had really good results with it for pretty much the entirety of their career, domestically.
Because they can be better than their opponent with a scaling champion, and then if they just get to 15 minutes even, it's like they won the game.
Right, exactly.
It's simple in that way.
It's kind of like a straightforward game plan. It's just like CS really well in your lane, don't fall too far behind from random plays, but C9 actually punished that extremely hard. I think the biggest thing for me that was confusing me watching it was the Fiora, because, like, granted, it's pretty hard to pick something there as Tenacity. There were quite a few top lane bans. Like, there was, I think Renekton was out. I don't remember exactly all the bans, but, you're playing against Jace, who's a lane bully. He's going to be pushing you in, and there's an Elise. So you're going to be getting pushed in and dove repeatedly, probably. So, like, what do you pick? Do you try to pick something like Ornn, where you're just fully weathering the storm, like, accepting that you're probably just going to lose lane hard, but then be useful later? But then he went with the route of playing Fiora, and I think that if you're going to do this kind of thing, you actually have to play topside with this comp because it's really the only point of pressure you have, and it was something that they were not able to do, and it just sort of fell apart for 100 Thieves.
It definitely feels like a draft where, like, the better team will win either side of this draft because you'll be better laners, and the worst team, if they take the early game side, won't be able to get a big enough lead, and you'll kind of survive that early pressure and then hard outscale them.
Yeah.
Or if you're the good team on the early game side, you just smurf on them, and that's kind of what happened in the C9 one, where they're running around the map and just murdering people left and right. It was the fastest game of the split because it just felt like 100 Thieves had no foothold in the game at all.
Yeah, the big one for me was mostly, this is the first day that we got to see teams play around Aurelion Sol. And I think with a draft like this, I would generally like to see a Sejuani at least have 2 of those solo lanes to play through. You have the top lane, but you're not going to play through mid at all. Like, it's just basically a gap, a huge hole in the map.
Black hole.
And so you're getting pushed in bot lane, you're getting pushed in mid. And you can only really play through topside, and like C9 recognizes that. I think that was the biggest question mark, was like, you're drafting an Aurelion Sol with a jungle match. I mean, with a comp that you can't really play through most parts of the map, and it makes it very easy to play through. So that's the only criticism that I had personally.
Yeah, I mean, even watching the game yesterday, like, I think that 100 Thieves actually had opportunities in the game, which, like, obviously we're watching on the spectator client. We have way more info than they have, but like, I think there were opportunities where closer, like, you know, there was a window around level 3 where he could have like taken bot crab and ganked bottom, but it seems like their team is just not comfortable taking risks. They're just playing absolutely, completely risk averse, which, you know, that does work against teams that can't punish you, but obviously C9 punished super hard. So it was an awesome game to watch for C9. I think that was like an incredibly dominant performance on something we don't usually see do that well domestically. So like that was really inspiring to watch.
That being said, you're going to get front row seats the next game. You're going to be casting this next one, so it's going to be a goodbye to you as we send you off, actually.
You got to go cast.
Yeah, you got to go do it.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thanks
for joining
for
us.
Joining the desk. Or, oh, I messed up already.
Yeah.
No, he's joining the caster desk. Thank you for joining.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
Thank you for joining that desk. For you people at home, of course, we're going to be taking a look at the schedule for today. CLG going up against 100 Thieves, Cloud9 versus Dignitas, Evil Geniuses goes up against FlyQuest, who's gotten their first loss earlier on, Team Liquid Honda versus TSM, and then Immortals Progressive getting their win.
Golden Guardians is in their favorite time slot again.
Guardians, yes, they
when
are.
they're game 5, they always win.
True.
Yeah, that's how they got their win streak. They was threw them off yesterday. They were game, what was it, 3, 4?
Yeah, they were
3.
Yeah,
not
too
end of
early.
day, yeah.
Too early.
Yeah.
It's got to be end of day.
They're a PM team.
Yeah.
There are a few things that also all of us just completely cursing them and talking about the 7-game win streak. So now they've been humbled. I guess predictions are the next point.
Let's see.
Let's see if there's any changes. Oh, Mark!
Are people really that hot on 100 Thieves?
They've lost almost all of their games in the past ever.
They've won one game in the last 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
I'm really curious. I didn't remember whether I picked CLG or 100 Thieves, actually. That's how close it was. I'm really curious about these two drafts because of the stuff we just talked about, and also because C9 was the team to punish not just 100 Thieves, but if you remember the CLG scaling draft with the Seraphine, I believe, that was also C9 taking a super like heavy early game plan and really, really punishing that. So I'm wondering if both teams will go with scaling or if we'll see CLG default to something more around their solo lanes that's a little bit more proactive with Contractz.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Game 1 and Game 4 are the playoff games. Like, I'm actually surprised that it's 4-for-4 TL, because if you look at those standings behind Mark's head, Mark, duck.
Which one?
They're both 5 and 7.
This is a super close game. I'm surprised we're all on.
And we've 4-person TL. And this CLG versus 100 Thieves game, it's like, you got to break that tie between 6 and 8. Only 6 teams make the playoffs, so these are the most important games.
TSM beat Team Liquid last time too.
Sounds good. There's a lot to look at. I mean, we already talked about the first game of the day, CLG versus 100 Thieves. So, as you're pointing directly towards that matchup, why not we point to the start of the show? Thanks a lot, guys. Let's get the show started.
Welcome back to the LCS. It's time for the second half here of week 6. And to kick things off, we're gonna go ahead and bring on our lovely special guest from the analyst, whatever we're calling that thing now. We're on the caster's desk, and Meteos is joining us not for one, but for 2 different games today. First off here with CLG versus 100 Thieves. How you doing, man?
I'm great. It's awesome to be here. You know, it's been a while since I was in the LCS studio. A little bit more fancy than just doing this out of my room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an awesome treat. Happy to be here.
I really like the new stage, especially. Definitely shine that sucker up a bit. CLG and 100 Thieves, we're getting you right into a juicy one here, Meteos. Both these teams lost yesterday with Aurelion Sol.
Right. I think Sol's OP. I'm not convinced everyone knows how to play it yet, though.
Okay. It's a learning process, right?
Yeah, I agree. He is OP because he has 2 max health scaling damage with Stardust on the Q and on the execute on E. So he's definitely too much max health damage. But we'll see about the confidence either of these teams have to pick it again. I would say 100 Thieves definitely lost way harder than CLG did. CLG coming back for a bit, you know, showing some signs of life there, trying to defend. And 100 Thieves with the full scaling, already being targeted right now and banning out Doublelift Zeri, which he has gone back to so many times.
100 Thieves completed the any % speedrun no skip. It's not, they got the bad ending, but they completed the speedrun. Zeri banned out, so we don't have any of that this game. Xayah and Ashe also banned away as those bottom lane options. Ashe, of course, more of a support. Vi and Elise targeting a couple of those popular junglers still. 100 Thieves have 1 ban left to go. And once we get into the picks, the real thing I'm looking for from 100 Thieves today is give me something with a little bit more early oomph than what they drafted yesterday.
Right. I think 100 Thieves is a team that has looked a little bit lifeless, and I think some people were expecting them to get off to a slow start, but you know, they haven't really picked it up that much. They've been playing scaling, and like yesterday, they kind of crumbled. So I think everyone's looking for them to play a little bit more early game, and hopefully they can do that.
Well, Aurelion Sol first picked for CLG. Remember that yesterday it was Palafox who, even though CLG was incredibly far behind against FlyQuest, they dug in their heels. They were defending as long as they could. They honestly pulled off a couple of pretty spectacular defenses, fell in the end anyway, but this champion was paramount to that defense. 100 Thieves are going to respond by picking up the Gragas and the Caitlyn for Doublelift.
I think the Sol's a really interesting pick to take first against 100 Thieves because it's not a flex pick. You know he's going mid. Well, probably, anyway. We haven't seen it anywhere else. I don't think
he's not in this team playing support or anything, so.
That's fair. So, and, you know, like we were saying, 100 Thieves is a team that pretty much wins by scaling, and I think Aurelion Sol, I don't know if anything outscales him. He's really insane. When he gets that ultimate upgrade, he just wipes out the dinosaurs, drops a meteor, destroys the entire Earth, and it's just super hard to beat in team fights.
Wait, pretty interesting moves here as we go pretty quickly with these lock-ins. 100 Thieves, there was no hesitation on their side. They immediately pick up the Caitlyn. We assume something like the Lux to be paired with it before the next round of bans come in. CLG, though, they actually don't even pick up their support quite yet unless the Varus is going to be moved into support, and they leave the extra one open here. So I would think 100 Thieves going to target CLG bottom lane here, ban out some more supports to deal with. Caitlyn Lux, obviously notorious for the pushing power off that bottom side. Plus, actually pairs really well with Gragas for later. Gragas is good with siege comps, so you can group up at those towers. Maybe they take away stuff like Karma or something like that. You could pair with the Varus to be able to have some more defense in that lane.
And I do like the fact that CLG wanted to go ahead, grab themselves a jungler before the second half of the bans came through as well, with Vi and Elise already taken off the table. They didn't want to get knocked further down the tier list, but yes, the Karma is banned away. Thresh has been one of those champions that we saw a lot more of him played yesterday. He's one of those champs that traditionally can pair very well with Varus because of the fact that he can keep him safer in a situation where, you know, normally he's very easy to jump on. That might be another ban from 100 Thieves here. CLG gonna take Yone out of the picture, keep away one of those champions that yesterday we saw really throttle Aurelion Sol.
Right, I'm not really sure if Thresh would work out well here. Thresh hasn't really looked too great, and mostly he's been paired with Aphelios, and it's looked kind of not great. So,
all right, wouldn't be a fan of it.
I feel
I wouldn't like
that's fair.
It's always hard to play too into Caitlyn Lux because you can get trapped or binding when you self-root yourself throwing out death sentence, so it is a little bit scary. They're going down to the wire though, and they go for the top side ban instead, taking away the Gwen, open something up here for Tenacity. Tenacity's been on a carry champ for the majority of their games.
Tenacity ended yesterday's game 0-0-0 on Fiora. It was something that Twitch chat was having a bit of fun with based on the way that the game went overall, but obviously they want to see him be able to have some more impact in these games, be able to influence things. He's shown us that he's a player who's not afraid to flex muscles in those 1v1s, and I'm sure that's what 100 Thieves wants to see more out of him. And we've got the Cassante banned away from CLG, so they will target Tenacity a little bit there with that last ban.
Yeah, I would expect 100 Thieves to try to keep Gragas as a flex for as long as they can, because right now people have been playing him top, jungle, and even mid. Some places. So
yeah, some faker guy I heard.
yeah, he's an up and coming Korean player. I want to say.
All right, closer on Lee Sin. This is something every 100 Thieves fan has been begging for, either Lee Sin or Viego. Those two champions got buffed recently.
Yes.
Those are the 2-star champions for closer that got him, finals MVP. So I'm actually very excited to see the Lee Sin lock-in, even if it does mean the Gragas is, more secure in Tenacity's hands there. It's probably now going top.
Right. I like 100 Thieves' game plan so far. Whenever you pick a Caitlyn lane, you're probably going to be playing to it if you want to win.
Yeah.
And so I think this is
if you want to win. I love the caveat.
yeah. I mean, this is right up Doublelift's comfort zone. He likes having the pressure, being played around closer. On his successful runs in 100 Thieves, he was really playing around bot a lot. Yeah. And I love this trio for it. I think it's looking good for them so far.
Final pick is going to be support Kalista for CLG. We've seen Sven run this on Cloud9 previously. It is one of those champions that is very, 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 very different from a lot of other things. The way that you have to work with the movement and the hopping, you got to be able to be practiced on this champion to be effective at it. So I'm curious to see how Varus Kalista is going to play out against Caitlyn.
Oh, we get it.
Pick of the draft. Okay, so it's Gragas mid. Remember, this was featured on your Chef Kobe segment yesterday. You said this was delicious. This was the star of the show. It would steal the meal, and Bjergsen's going to play it here for 100 Thieves. Tenacity on Olaf versus the Sion.
Interesting. I don't know if I like the Olaf here. I think Olaf with Lee Sin kind of makes your team a little bit flimsy as far as CC goes, but obviously T1 has played a lot of comps like this, and if you just win early, then it doesn't really matter. So I like that they are picking more early game stuff. They have an early game plan, and we're going to have to see how CLG's double marksman bot lane does against it.
Yeah, and I especially like how 100 Thieves can attack the Aurelion Sol. Lee Sin and Gragas, you have Bjergsen with the flash, initiate on that Aurelion Sol, get that dragon behind early, try and delay that scaling as much as possible. Obviously, I think Closer has a lot more options towards the mid and bottom side of the map. Top side, Tenacity, as you pointed out, has been left alone quite a lot, even though he is on one of these tank killing matchups now with the Olaf picked up. And he's running Ghost Flash as well. So he is going for a lot of extra mobility, won't have the extra teleport.
I like it. I mean, I think in this game, Olaf actually could look really good because Olaf does super well if the other team has some mobile carries. And Aurelion Sol, I don't know if you'd call him a mobile, but he's not super mobile. Like, he's got his W, and that's about it.
Just want to point out real quick, I did misspeak back in draft. It is not support Kalista, it is support Varus, with the Kalista being piloted by Luger. So it'll be up to him to kite out that Olaf, while Poome's job is just going to be to rain in those arrows. You can see Hail of Blades, typically what's going to be taken on these marksman supports. Poome walks up far enough to see the skill shots flying through the brushes, knows he doesn't want anything to do with that. And of course, with Caitlyn and Lux, you want to be able to control those brushes early, control that lane push, and exactly what you guys were talking about, let Doublelift run the show early on here in bottom lane.
Absolutely. I think 100 Thieves has a very clear game plan. I really want to see them stick to it. Just try to punish CLG's bot lane as much as possible. And CLG, they're not picking a scaling bot lane. So I imagine we're going to see a lot of 3v3s or maybe even more than that, depending on who else is able to come bottom. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was actually hoping for a super aggressive 100 Thieves level 1 when you have Lux as well as Olaf. You could have a super strong level 1 invade, something like that. But looks like they're just going to retake on their red side. That was warded by CLG during the bottom side move for them, so they will have vision of Closer start here on Raptors and know he's starting top triangle.
Yep, I don't think the jungle start matters too much in this kind of game. I think both teams are going to be playing around bot, like we've been talking about, and I like how they use their stronger level 1 to just establish that bot lane control, like get the vision in the bush, because that helps a ton in these matchups.
Luger and Poome putting a little bit of damage on Doublelift here at level 1, not shying away from the PvP as early as it might show up. Kobe, you said, yes, they're starting off in those top triangles there for both of our junglers. Doublelift continuing to take auto attack damage from Luger and Poome as Poome deploys the barrier to prevent the follow-up trade from Busio and Doublelift as he has to fall back.
That's always when this Varus looks the best as support. Walk up with these aggressive Hail of Blades trades. Just use your barrier super early on. Cooldown will come back up.
Oh! Flash from Busio for the binding, but they turn it back around. It's going to be a trade so far, but now it's AD carry versus support, and Busio's got a whole lot of spears in him. It's a 2-for-1 trade, and CLG comes out on top.
Wow, a nice start by 100 Thieves. They got that level 2 first. They got the push, flashed in, that was great. But, you know, CLG responded really well. They got level 2 as well, and it actually ended up going really well for them, getting 2 kills over on Luger.
Yes, 2 AD carries, greater than 1. Let's take a look at the flash initiation here to start it all out. Busio, Q flashes, they get him. Doublelift does get off the trap into headshot and immediately flash away, but Luger already, as soon as he saw that movement, he starts hopping forward, so there's no escape. Really good job by Luger, taking the aggressive look here, and CLG, both kills going to him as well. He's got a full Vamp Scepter by. That feels very scary for this 100 Thieves bottom lane that you're talking about, Meteos. So much of their game plan kind of revolving around.
Right, and I think a lot of the time on those kill trades, it kind of depends like how the wave is set up. I didn't get a super close look at who it was better for, but I don't think the lane's going to be completely decided for anyone just yet. But this gank might decide it.
Contractz might have something to say about that decision, as Luger's gonna get his 3rd kill of the game. Make it his 4th kill of the game, and 100 Thieves bottom lane. The screens are all gray.
Wow, so, you know, I'm a little bit surprised by Closer's decision to go for Crab there rather than hovering because, you know, obviously most plays you can come back to be like, oh, jungle should have been there. But in this instance, all summoners were burned in an all-in, and your wave is pushing out, right? There's no better time to look bottom than this.
Yeah, that's why as soon as you see the Sejuani creeping in, you know this is going to be a flash initiation. Busio used his flash in the last play that we saw offensively. And so Contractz goes in, Luger then immediately flashes for the follow-up. But they actually get Doublelift too here, which is the crazier part.
I did not expect Doublelift to go down there. That was really well played by CLG. Great gank by Contractz, waiting in the bush.
Yeah, and really good skill shots from both Luger and Poome. They both hit their Qs. Without that, they would not be able to take down the 2nd kill.
And now, up top side, the 2v2 action continues. Contractz recognizing that this is going to be a good spot for Closer to potentially gank. He's going to cut him off there, win out in the trade against him. Back in mid, Bjergsen bringing the pain to Palafox here nice and early. Forces the flash.
Yep, that's good. It's what you like to see. Palafox picked a scaling champ, and Bjergsen's able to punish him, you know, get his flash early. Hopefully they can capitalize on that. Maybe get a re-gank or something like that.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was hoping for when we saw this, you know, draft, and we're talking about flash initiations from Bjergsen, especially as you're getting towards level 6. So Bjergsen, really good job blowing flash off Aurelion Sol pre-6. When Gragas gets 6 and you have flash, Palafox has to play so incredibly safe. Really going to be dangerous for him. So maybe a little change in game plan here for 100 Thieves. Call Closer, see if you can get some money off of that mid lane first.
Right, I think you absolutely have to pivot with bot lane going the way it did early. You know, your game plan with Caitlyn should be playing to the lane, but obviously it's so doomed at this point. I think what they can look for is maybe like have Lux go mid with Lee Sin, maybe even Olaf, kill Aurelion Sol, and then once Bjergsen has prio, once he's got an advantage mid, he can come bot and help you out.
Bjergsen's got to go back right now, however. Completely out of mana, still has the teleport ready, so he'll be able to return to lane almost instantaneously. Up top side, Tenacity has a pretty impressive lead in farm over his opponent in Dhokla, but that is what you would expect early with the Olaf versus Sion matchup. Of course, Dhokla will still be able to scale into being incredibly relevant thanks to Sion's passive with the Soul Furnace, so he's happy to just keep on farming it out up there. You can see the farm even in mid lane. Bottom lane, of course, still the advantage for Luger, as he and Poome have been in control of this matchup, and Contractz is once again looking to stop by and see if he might be able to make anything happen, or at least stop Closer from doing the opposite. Closer's going to walk up here. Contractz is waiting for him. Bjergsen's right behind Closer, however, so 100 Thieves are still confident to see if they can make CLG stick around for this. Busio throws out the binding. Yes, it hits Contractz, but not until he's already dashed away to safety.
Honestly, really good defense here from CLG, because that buys time as Bjergsen spends his roam timer to go halfway down the river. Palafox on the ASO, who should be the point that's being attacked, gets a free wave clear. He pushes out the wave and gets to go recall. So that's pretty good news, even though that didn't look like a lot. Really good little bit of defense there from CLG.
Right, I don't dislike the play by 100 Thieves here. I think that, you know, using Gragas' prio, like his one-timer to come down and clear the vision, make sure your bot lane's not going to get dove on that stacked wave, it's still good. It's not really going to get you an advantage, but it might slow down the snowball that CLG is trying to do.
Well, the quick replay that we did have there just showed Doublelift fat fingering the cleanse, so not going to have that one for a couple of minutes. We will see if CLG can punish that or if it ends up not really mattering a whole lot. Closer wanted to take the Sonic Wave there to get in range of the crab, potentially fight Contractz for that one, but Contractz can secure it without Closer being able to move in and say a whole lot about it. Mid laners still just back and forth farming, dead even between the two of them. And when things are going even in mid lane, Aurelion Sol is always happy.
Wow, looking at this jungle XP, that is not what Closer likes to see. Sejuani is going to hit 6 off of blue here, and Closer's still level 4.
And if you layer on top of that, Rift Herald is about to spawn, and CLG also have a pushing bottom lane. This feels so easy for CLG to just run the neutral objectives, rotate on up. They don't even have to full recall here. Contractz can instantly start.
Right, I'm interested to see what 100 Thieves decides to do here. I think they actually have an option of fighting this with Olaf because the champion is just so strong at this point in time, especially against champs who don't necessarily do a lot of damage like Sejuani Sion.
Yeah, bottom lane, they send half of it up for CLG though, so might have to just abandon that one for 100 Thieves, and that's gonna be some more pushing power for them as well. Contractz can bring the Rift Trail down, still has that Sejuani ult you're talking about and flash ready.
And important small note, Palafox is the one who got the killing blow on the Herald, and remember that it is worth a couple hundred gold now. So they're doing all these little things to just try and make sure they're putting the gold exactly where they need it. All 4 kills are on their carry and bot side. The extra money from killing the Herald is on that Aurelion Sol, that hyperscaler in the mid lane. Things are looking good in the first 9 minutes for CLG, who are about 1,500 gold ahead.
Definitely a good spot to be in if you're CLG. It looks like A-Soul's flash is almost back up here, so 100 Thieves not really able to find a winner to capitalize on that burn summoner.
Unless they can do it right now. Closer does have level 6. Palafox has 36 seconds before the flash comes back up. So if it happens, it's got to happen real soon. Closer's still looking for it. Palafox staying as far away as he can to clear away this control ward. Doesn't look like we're going to get a whole lot of anything out of it.
Yep, I like the respect Palafox is showing here. He recognizes they obviously timed his flash. They are running out of time to punish it, so they're probably looking there. And he was right, they were.
Man, it is looking like a pretty rough weekend for 100 Thieves, even just with the start of this game, because CLG off of the bottom snowball, also getting Dragon. They don't give up any neutral objectives so far, winning the lanes as well.
Yeah, this is absolutely not what you want to see as a 100 Thieves fan. They're down over a full level on bot lane. It's very much not where you want to be with Caitlyn.
Yeah, Doublelift having to farm with Piltover Peacemaker in a 2v1 against Luger does not feel very good for these guys. And once again, we're going to see Contractz looking for something if he would get the opportunity. Mostly just shadowing here, making sure the Closer's not coming down to gank them because it is CLG that has the massive wave pushing up and getting ready to crash into the turret of 100 Thieves. Aurelion Sol, still farming underneath his own turret with Bjergsen and Closer heading bottom. It's Poome and Luger who are just going to shove this wave up and get the hell out of town.
CLG did see this. They have vision. And this is one of those things that, you know, Lee Sin hasn't been super meta for a while, but he's one of the junglers who doesn't buy Sweeper because, you know, he wants to use his ward for ward hop. So he's just walking over vision, spotted, feels bad, man. None of his plays are going to work while they know where you are.
Oh, Poome goes in with a Chains of Corruption. Doublelift does have his cleanse back up in time to get away from it. And they have to use Luger's ulti to save Poome there. A nice binding from Busio. Gonna make it so that ulti is down. Maybe there will be an opportunity now for 100 Thieves to try to find something against CLG's bottom side. Tenacity just walking away from Contractz up here in the top lane. There goes Ace in the hole, blocked by Luger, just to make sure Poome's not critically low.
It was a good thing Doublelift was warming up his cleanse key previously.
Yes,
we
he was
saw him
prepared.
replay. He was quick on this one.
That actually ended up being a better cooldown trade.
Yeah.
100 Thieves there. They got the Kalista ult, which is a super, super long cooldown early game. And, you know, Varus' ult and cleanse. So maybe they'll have an opportunity to do something, but I think right now they just need time.
Yeah. Biggest difficulty is, like, even if they make a play off it, there's no objectives to take too, so.
Right.
But bounty on Kalista is like your dream scenario, I guess. If they can get priority mid, maybe bring down Gragas for like a four-person play.
So you're talking about priority. I think one of the priorities CLG needs to have right now is deploying this Rift Herald. They are down to very, very little time left to use this thing. They got about 30 seconds to drop it. So you can't really force an ideal situation. You just got to use the thing. Palafox gonna be knocked over towards where Closer was waiting, but Contractz was ready. He's been doing a great job so far this game, reading where Closer wants to be and making sure he's there to guarantee that his guys don't get punished.
This is a really good macro play by CLG. They recognize that they don't necessarily have mid prio, and so to drop the Herald bottom, if you don't want Gragas running down and killing you, you should just hover mid, let Palafox push, and now you have a window to drop the Herald where you're not gonna get outnumbered.
And there we go. Shelly should just be getting these 2 plates. There it is. Hey, at least they get the value. That's what I was worried about. As long as it doesn't expire in the inventory or have to walk 300,000 miles down mid and get killed for nothing. So CLG are going to get their guaranteed expected outcome of that Herald.
A lot of miles.
That's a lot of miles.
While the CLG bottom lane is for sure the star of the show, well, hold on.
That was an all-in from Tenacity. He flashes behind the Sion, goes into the Ragnarok, uses both summoner spells there, and Dhokla responds with a flash of his own and an ulti to disengage it, so Tenacity won't get what he was looking for.
Top lane, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh boy, but mid lane's the story instead. Closer with a disengaged kick. Busio's coming up to give themselves a numbers advantage, but Closer flashes away to escape the Sejuani ulti. Busio now having to flash out to get away from the counter ulti of Varus as Poome rotates up. Palafox maintains control over the mid lane. Both sides throwing out a couple of weapons, a couple of ultis here. Nobody getting a whole lot.
It's going to be very hard for 100 Thieves to win fights just trying to get a pick because, like I mentioned in draft, they don't have a whole lot of lockdown in their comp. Like Lee Sin, Olaf, Gragas has some CC, but it's not very reliable. It's not like, you know, a Vi ulti where you just point, click, lock down entirely. They don't have a lot of things to set up their follow-up CC. So I think they're really going to be hoping that CLG just overextends here or gives them something.
Ooh, CLG picking up that first turret of the game. 5 seconds before the plates would have fallen means they get the entirety of the possible value of that tier 1 turret bottom lane. Almost a 3,000 gold lead here 14 minutes into the game. Remember, they claimed first Herald, they claimed the first Drake, the second Drake about to spawn here in 25 seconds, but Closer's got his eyes on the other side of the map. Dhokla does not have his ulti ready to go again. The Olaf ulti, however, is ready. Ragnarok has been used. There comes the damage from Sion to try to take him with him as you've got Palafox wanting to join in. Dokla's dead body just tears Tenacity apart, and it's a double kill for a dead man. CLG gets the better of him.
He got stronger when he died. He was a zombie forever.
What a champion.
Wow. And, you know, great play by... I was going to say it was a really good play by 100 Thieves, setting that up, getting the kill on Dhokla. You know, they blew his flash before, good follow-up gank. But Palafox having that TP advantage, great counter gank. And, you know, when you're on the scaling mid, being able to show up for a play like that and swing it, which, you know, it would have been a 1 for 0, but now it's a 1 for 2 in CLG's favor.
Big Dokes with the expert passive usage here on Sion on full display. CLG, they're not done.
Busio gets caught by the chains of corruption. Poome has his number, and they set it up for Luger yet again. The perfect AD carry score. No deaths, no assists,
Get him,
all
Bjergsen.
kills. Bjergsen wants to go after the dragon, but good lord, man, he's just getting melted by the dragon
familiar.
breath. This looks real bad. Bjergsen tries to get away. The big man belly flop gets him out for now, but here come the skies, and they descend on Bjergsen's health bar, baby. Palafox getting kill number 1.
Wow, almost the exact same situation. 100 Thieves just trying to make a, you know, spur of the moment play, but CLG's ready for it. They have those TPs, they have the resources. They're saying, you know, what is this guy doing? He's trying to go on me, just TP, kill him. So, you know, I think 100 Thieves definitely probably not playing their best macro game here, maybe feeling a little bit desperate, and definitely getting punished for it.
It's like a buddy cop movie. It's great. Palafox has Dokla's back, and then Dokla's got his back, teleporting in to save.
100 Thieves are just aiming for the bushes.
Yeah, unfortunately, there goes my hero.
100 Thieves are the extras in the movie. You can't hit shots right now. It's actually looking very, very sad. They did snag away the dragon, though.
That's something. So at least CLG is not on a 2-0 dragon advantage, but unfortunately for 100 Thieves, it is a 5,000 gold deficit 16 minutes into the game. They have to stabilize, and they have to do it yesterday if they want to have any chance going forward here.
It's just such a rough situation to be in because you don't even outscale with these comps. You know, CLG has great scaling on their team. They've got Sion, just this massive front line, and on 100 Thieves, who's going to kill him?
Yeah.
You've got Caitlyn, who's going to take like 4 items to be able to do anything to him. So I would not want to be in 100 Thieves' shoes right now.
And your only AP threat is really the Gragas. I mean, that's not going to be a consistent DPS, you know, anything towards a Sion. He's fine. He's just going to stack this armor the entire time and feel great against Olaf and Lee and Caitlyn and everybody who will be hitting him. Doublelift does have his Bloodthirster. This has become very popular first item for AD carries. The shield from the item combined with the overheal shield creates just this extra 1000 HP wall on an AD carry health bar.
I'm not feeling great about those.
Might be able to protect him.
Oh my, don't even get me started. But so one thing that 100 Thieves could look for now is, you know, obviously those 2 plays before where they got TP'd on were pretty tragic for them, but they do have TP advantage now. You know, Bjergsen has his teleport available and CLG does not have either of theirs. So they could look to try to make some outnumbered play, but it might be hard.
Ooh, Bjergsen's gonna be caught out by Contractz here. They're just gonna chain CC, and Bjergsen, what the hell are you doing there? Of all the places on Summoner's Rift you could have been.
He's going for a quick nap.
Okay, yeah, a dirt nap.
He got a little bit too much to drink.
He's going back to the fountain to
gotta
take a
rally.
bath as well. He's got to wash it off. Oh my goodness. CLG just look uncontested.
And Poome's just throwing out another chains of corruption on this Varus, landing these over and over again to constantly provide some threat. They're not going to get a kill from it, but it opens up enough time. They force down the tier 2 turret in mid lane. Now the Palafox is already working on the tier 2 turret in bottom lane. 100 Thieves have no turrets for themselves yet. Tenacity working on remedying that here in the top lane. Dhokla wants to make it back here in time to shut that down and should be able to clear out this wave in time. There it goes. So still, only objective the entire game for 100 Thieves has been that one Drake they secured.
Not a perfect game. Boom.
It's not a perfect game, you're right. Honestly, if I was only going to get one dragon, I think Mountain might be the one I'd want. It's such a strong dragon, just stat-wise.
Yeah, and they're going to need that survivability because, you know, these guys don't really have the same front line that their opponents do either. You were talking about the scaling differences, how good scaling is on CLG. Olaf and Lee Sin are very much fighters. They're not going to become brick walls. And let's see if Dhokla can lock down Tenacity any longer here. No, Palafox started flying at him, but he couldn't quite catch it.
That trade wasn't close at all.
No, that was abusive. Goodbye, Olaf. It's time for you to walk away, buddy. Dhokla and Palafox are just ready to knock this sucker down. I don't really think 100 Thieves is doing a whole lot to stop it when Luger shows up to provide the DPS. That is now the 5th turret of the game, claimed by CLG. There comes the Meteor from Palafox, but they don't quite have enough damage to take out anybody on 100. They do, however, have an 8,000 gold lead, and 100 Thieves feel completely suffocated.
Yeah, as much as it is painful to look at it from the 100 Thieves point of view, CLG are doing such a good job moving this game state forward constantly. They're not wasting any time. They move from objective to objective, bully down these towers. They get a pick off someone on 100 Thieves. They kill another tower. They are basically wiping the map clean.
It's very true. It's great to see, you know, CLG, they've been a little back and forth this split, but this is a great game for them. I love how they're just using every single wave. They're not giving 100 Thieves any time. They're just always pressuring together and just absolutely choking.
On spawn Baron.
20-minute Baron. As soon as it shows up, they're ready to go for it. But 100 Thieves recognize what's going on. They're ready to answer. CLG does not want to throw away what they've built for the past 20 minutes on some sort of a YOLO 50-50 Baron, so they back away.
Yeah, that was just a little test. We've been able to get everything we've tried in this game so far. We'll test on Baron. Okay, fine.
Yeah, that one was maybe a little bit optimistic. At the same time, though, they don't really lose anything for trying it. Sion can tank Baron forever, probably, and Kalista's good secure, so I think that just maybe gets in 100 Thieves' head. It's just like, look, like, we could be Baroning at any moment, and then that puts a lot of pressure on 100 Thieves to just constantly have vision control in their jungle and on Baron.
100 Thieves recognizing that CLG probably wants to go for the dragon, so they try to secure the last little bit of HP on this tier 1 turret in the top lane. Objective bounties are up and running, so it would give them a nice injection of gold, but CLG recognizes, hey, all we got to do is send Palafox up here. He'll clear the wave. He'll make it so they can't grab this, and now he and Poome are going to be the ones who, again, have to clear it out. Tenacity wants to escort the wave up, but there goes the Singularity. There goes the Dragon's Breath. Tenacity really wanted to just walk up and hit that thing, but it's not happening.
Where did those minions go?
I love how
can you miss it?
I love how Poome also is waiting there too until Olaf gets right up to the tower. Then they kill all the minions and give him a couple tower shots on the way out.
Yeah, I really like how Poome's been playing this Varus. He's doing a really good job playing with vision, just staying just out of sight and looking for these ulti angles. He's been getting a ton of picks off of it.
Yeah, he's found Busio a bunch of times, been able to follow up on others as well. All right, next order of business then is putting some real threat on that Baron, clearing out the vision and really making 100 Thieves sweat, because CLG are that far ahead already that they can just bully their way into this jungle. The only thing they're missing right now is a little rotation from mid from Luger, and here he comes.
Poome, once again, just trying to wait around the corners of this terrain like you were talking about, Meteos. He doesn't need to walk into a bush. He doesn't need to be grouped up with everybody else. Just slightly out of range,
This is
standing in
suspicious.
fog.
This is really weird.
Yeah, this is a bit strange. Aurelion Sol does do absolutely insane damage to Baron with his Breath of Light, so CLG might just be able to use Dhokla as a distraction and go after this. All right, it's getting a little haphazard here. Palafox coming around from the side. They throw down the damage. Wombo combo. Bjergsen's at 10% HP. He tries to get back away, but they're falling in from the side, and they're all falling down on 100 Thieves. Bjergsen's the only one to hit the dirt, but Busio, Closer, and Tenacity are all below half HP. CLG heads right back over to Baron, and 100 Thieves is stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I think, you know, that was a pretty decent play by CLG.
Oh.
They did use the big Aurelion Sol. 100 Thieves might have a small window to look for a play, but it's pretty doomed.
Shoot him, Poome. Shoot him. There we go.
The only play they could look for, though, maybe mid-tower objective bounty shutdown, and CLG definitely will secure Baron. They do get the tower. There's a little bit of money for your troubles, but the rest of the team is just dead.
Yeah, if you're asking me would I like to trade my mid lane tier 1 turret for a Baron and an enemy inhibitor turret, I'll say yes, every single time. And that's exactly what CLG got. They're wearing purple on everybody. They haven't had to sacrifice a man just yet, but Contractz may be caught here. 100 Thieves just throwing everything at him to clean up this jungler, and they should be able to find it. There it is. Tenacity will take the kill on that one. So 100 Thieves will at least not have to face the full brunt of CLG for the next 35 seconds. Aurelion Sol just does this to buffs. You just stand there and you take it.
Tenacity sitting at a comfortable 2-1-0 KDA for the weekend.
Oh no, you're
Positive
right.
KDs. Team diff.
The best part is, you guys can't see it because you don't have the camera on us right now. He said that entire sentence with a straight face. Just absolute.
You gotta look.
Seriousness.
You gotta look for the silver linings, Flowers. This weekend has been a giant
Been tough.
storm cloud for 100 Thieves. Honestly, maybe it's like a guest caster curse because we had Spica for the last one too. And
Oh.
for this one.
So whenever there's guests, 100 Thieves just.
This is the point in the game where we got to come up with conspiracy theories.
Okay, I got you.
Okay,
I got you.
all right.
So Spica has a curse on Bjergsen and Doublelift, former teammate.
Yeah.
Can sleep, and I have a curse on 100 Thieves.
Oh, double curse.
I don't think they had much of a shot this weekend.
The week of revenge on 100 Thieves.
All right, so there's some sort of an evil hex here on 100 Thieves as they try to defend against a 9,500 gold deficit 25 minutes into the game. Everybody not named Contractz still has the Baron, so CLG are just grouped up, trying to push down mid here. They do not have pressure in either side right now. Both of those waves are still pretty far away, so 100 Thieves is just very focused on defending this mid lane.
CLG seems a little bit stumped as far as how to actually break the base, or maybe not.
Maybe they're just gonna hard force it like this. They get the ulti out of the Olaf. So Tenacity knows he's got to try to do something here. Dhokla is stuck on the front. They might just be able to kill the Sion. They get him. Nicely done. 100 Thieves defending against the CLG Baron.
I do think the initiation, like half-hearted on an Olaf, is probably the worst way to go about it, though.
Right, I think that CLG is actually getting a little bit stumped as far as how to actually get into the base, because sieging against Caitlyn's really tough. She's got a line of traps through the entire range your carries want to be standing at to hit the tower.
Yeah.
I think what they could do is probably just have Sion sit behind mid and just ult into the turret. The ulti damage plus the demolish afterwards is going to be enough to break the turret and shrug off all the damage. So I think maybe if they focus more on the turret, less on actually trying to kill the champions by it, they could have done it.
Yeah, that sounds like a much better plan, because then you can also give back up your passive as they're taking, damage into the Sion. Everybody finishes it off. 100 Thieves, they're happy to get a little bit of breathing room, though. Another objective bounty here for Tenacity.
Been destroyed.
Is the little spark of hope growing
His
inside of
KDA
you?
is skyrocketing.
Nice.
It's going up and up.
Yep.
2-1-1 on the Olaf. The best KDA on the team. 8,500 gold lead. Still what it's looking like for CLG, though, as they're going to start up their third Drake of the game. This would be a Dragon Soul if Tenacity and 100 Thieves had not managed to grab that other one earlier on. So, hey, at least you got 5 more minutes before CLG hits that power spike. Baron's not going to be alive for another 3 minutes, and I feel like with the struggles that CLG was having breaking into the base with Baron, it's going to be very difficult to try to do anything without.
All right, the fun game of updating Stardust on Aurelion Sol.
What do we have?
Execution? The execution threshold on Singularity is up to 13.4%. And the
Two-thirds of an Elder Dragon.
Yeah. And the Q, remember, is doing a little bit over 10% of max health damage as well, if you can channel it for a second. So
What is his total Stardust count? Because I know that 10 per minute is the goal.
332.
Okay, he's way past. All right.
I think that's also like kind of a lazy man's goal, the 10 per minute. So you know, if you're a real Aurelion Sol main, then you want to overshoot that.
Okay. Well, right now he's feeling very comfortable about it. CLG is feeling great about their current state of the game. Sion is scaling infinitely. Aurelion Sol is scaling infinitely. Luger has 3 items completed on the Kalista, including the Bloodthirster and the Immortal Shield Bow. Closer flashed, but Contractz had the aim to chase him through it. And with Poome doing the damage, they're going to finish off the 100 Thieves jungler 5v4 for the next 35 seconds.
Did we catch who got the Raptors? I'm trying to weigh if that was worth it or not. I couldn't see if Closer got him or not.
Each Raptor must be individually accounted for as well.
Well, if each Raptor's worth about 2,000 gold, then it's worthwhile. Otherwise, might be a little tricky here for 100 Thieves. Tenacity pops the Ragnarok. He's ready to fight Dhokla.
The KDA.
Dhokla's just walking away. All right, now he re-engages. Tenacity has run out of Ragnarok, and the dragon is ready to chase him. The Ghost is going to give Tenacity a little bit of time to run away. Top lane inhibitor fell while we're watching this, but this is more interesting. Palafox is on a rampage. Olaf's dead.
Wow, so 100 Thieves was actually doing a pretty good job stalling out the game. You know, for the past 5 minutes, kind of since the Baron went down, they didn't lose a whole lot, but that was just 2 back-to-back mistakes they made. You know, getting caught at Raptors, getting caught bot lane, doing a really weird all-in. Yeah, not really a lot of reason for those plays.
Yeah, feels like CLG are set to win this one by default unless some crazy test of fate happens. Some turn. Honestly,
I don't even think that does it, man.
Yeah.
I don't think that does it.
well, there's some big bounties on champions as well as the objective bounties. So if they can get some of those lazy like surprise kills, if CLG you know, do kind of leave themselves open, then maybe there is that pathway back in, but it certainly looks to be doomed.
I think unless Doublelift gets a pentakill every bounty, there's not
All right,
hope.
let's set it then.
All right, that's the mark. Doublelift has to pentakill, collect every bounty at the same time, and then purchase his entire full build with the money that he would receive from doing so. Dhokla charging up that big decimating smash there, but now just walks it on off. Tenacity gonna lead the charge forward as 100 Thieves recognizes Baron is up. They do not want to allow CLG to take it. They're gonna grab their own red buff here for Doublelift, just try to give him as much firepower as possible. Contractz maintaining aggro on the Baron. It's still at about half HP. Tenacity and Closer still trying to push forward, gain every inch of ground they can. Dhokla on the front line. A lot of damage being done to Tenacity. He's using the stasis, trying to stay alive here in the very front. Busio is burning down. Dhokla's already killed Tenacity. Busio runs, and Closer's getting beat. It's Bjergsen already gone first, and 3 of the 100 Thieves are already dead. Busio burns away. A double kill for Palafox. Baron be damned, the game is over, and CLG's gonna take it.
Yeah, that's going to do it. You know, they tried. Bjergsen went for the flash combo on Aurelion Sol, did about 30% of his health, not quite enough, and yeah, CLG's going to take it. Pretty impressive game by CLG, all things said. You know,
Incredible.
starting from the bot lane, they just won the 2v2 really hard. Great gank right after it, and they just played with their advantage well.
Luger and Poome, massive performance from them. I also think Contractz, even though it is a lot easier to play jungle when you have a winning, you know, lane setup like this, he did a really good job hovering, denying all of these 100 Thieves plays that they were trying to set up to get back into the game. On the Sejuani, it's not a glorious position to be in, but he did it quite well.
And the desk was talking about it before this game, saying how both of these teams are kind of in that melee of 3 or 4 different teams right around the cutoff for playoffs, around that 6th, 7th, 8th type of a spot. It's a pretty big deal for CLG. They're going up to 7-6 with this win. 100 Thieves, unfortunately, sitting on 5 and 8. Pretty rough score with only a couple weeks left to play to try to make it into playoffs. CLG are happy with this one.
Great game from CLG all around. They should definitely be happy about that.
DeMonte's loving it. Look at the grin, man. He's loving this.
Yeah, it's all smiles and laughs in the CLG camp. Definitely not going to be that in the 100 Thieves camp after this weekend. Tons to review and tons to change.
It's just such a rough situation to be in. You know, it seems like everything they're trying is just not working. You know, not a whole lot of proactive plays coming out of them. I think this game they at least tried to pick early game champs.
Yeah.
This is kind of a T1S comp. You know, you take that aggressive bot lane, you have like Gragas for early prio, Lee Sin for playmaking, but they just couldn't make it work. They lost the 2v2 bottom. They died immediately to the gank afterwards, and from there you're just playing an uphill battle.
I mean, I think we saw the individuals of CLG outshine their counterparts at multiple different points of the game. You already mentioned the 2v2 that was won early by CLG. Then we can remember bottom side when Contractz follows it up for the next 2 kills for Luger. You even pointed out, why is Closer not shadowing this? Why are you not reading the fact that, oh, this is a prime opportunity to gank this lane. Let's make sure nothing bad happens here. Then up top side later on, oh, hey, we have teleport advantage on our mid laner. Let's turn that play around as well. Everybody just seemed to be doing the right thing on CLG, and 100 Thieves couldn't keep up. Coming up next, we got C9 versus Dig, but first, Dhokla and Palafox settled the score on who is the best Irelia on CLG. Check it out.
Where's the confidence?
Where's the confidence? I don't play better with or without confidence.
You don't got that dog in you, that's why.
I mean, okay.
Welcome back to the LCS Lounge. We have another 1v1 ready to go, this time between Palafox and Dhokla, fighting about Irelia. Some facts about this: Palafox played it during their loss streak. Dhokla played it, they won. There's a bit of tension between these two about who is the better Irelia, so we're gonna settle that today. Let's get into game.
Are we taking snowball?
Yeah, take whatever you, yeah, let's take Flash Ignite.
Flash Ignite?
You don't want it? I mean, if you're insecure, check my runes.
By the way, are you, what?
Did you just ban it?
Oh, I banned it. Oh my god, dude.
What the hell?
Go.
There's 3 bans you have to waste.
I didn't know that.
Tell us the story about who the better Irelia is.
I mean, it's not really a story. I'm just a better Irelia. I mean, the story ends there.
All right, so here it is. I think he's better than me at laning because that's all he focuses on. And I think I have a better picture of the game, and I'm better at team fighting.
Do these right.
Oh!
Are you snowball? Oh, Ignite.
No.
Man, snowball makes it so much more fun.
What were you saying? Better in lane?
You're
Worse in
better in
lane?
lane, but if you lose, then it's just sad.
Well, I don't lose lane.
Yeah. You also
I also don't go even in lane.
don't go
I
even.
try.
You either hard win or hard lose.
Yeah. Actually, I went even and then I hard won. So.
Okay.
What are the odds for this one?
The odds?
Yeah, 70-30.
It's like
Every game is a 50-50.
like
You can win or you can
99-1.
lose.
Oh,
99-1 maybe.
Wait, this is crazy. Like, Pala is literally setting the expectations low, so if he wins, it's huge. If he loses,
I mean, either I was going to win or if you lose.
I mean, I said 50-50. He said 99-1. If he loses, it's just...
Where's the confidence?
Where's the confidence? I don't play better with or without confidence.
You don't got that dog in you, that's why.
I mean, okay. What if we just go triple
Dagger,
D-blade?
boots?
Dagger, boots, pop. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Want to do that?
Sure.
Okay.
I kind of like this mouse. I don't like that it's wired, but...
Yeah.
You guys were talking earlier about if you can even land an E. Did you both take the same skill
I mean, this guy
order?
is probably the worst user of E on Irelia. It's so bad.
Me when I do it right, compared to him?
already?
Oh, this is.
whoa.
No way!
You're right.
Actually so
I am bad.
Oh my god.
You're getting a plate too? Oh, it's...
God.
Wait, can you base in this?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, Flark. All right, go freeze the
All right,
mid.
he's out.
Yeah. Goodbye. I think I need to base or the game is unplayable.
Dhokla freezing the lane and a...
Interrupts the recall.
What are you doing?
Got that dog in me, man.
Guys, I don't think it's playable if I don't recall.
Did you?
No, this is the right play.
How do you know he was in that bush?
See, he looked at his screen.
Everyone's so great. I don't screen peek. That was in Halo days. I don't screen peek anymore.
That was in Halo days.
You remember those days?
We'll check the
Yeah.
tapes.
Palafox, thoughts on stream snipers with this guy looking at your screen?
I'm not looking.
Maybe it was good prediction. It was good prediction.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Oh,
Oh, you got you.
yeah.
E6.
Trash, bro.
Yeah, okay, how would you
never
win
playing
that?
Irelia.
How would you win that from the first start?
Why would you even W first? You need W to tank my damage when I all in. Why would you ever W to start?
Do you think it's winnable?
Not if you play like that.
Oh, so you think that you could win with the lead, the difference?
No, I'm saying you're paying for your mistake. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, I did pay for my mistake.
Yeah,
Craig.
I mean,
Wait, but the first 1v1 is fun. If I dodge the E.
You should not W. You should
Like,
W
okay,
at my
actually never
burst.
play.
You should
Alright.
W my burst. Why would you W to sack your passive? Not good. Never
As
good.
you can tell, this is what goes on after every game, I'm sure. A little bit of back and forth. Thank you guys so much for doing the 1v1, and that's it for us.
Red Bull gives you wings. Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Hmm?